Hello, Heartland fans. Welcome back. After 18 seasons of Heartland, Season 19 is here. It's a quiet morning at Heartland Ranch. The sun is just beginning to rise, casting golden rays over the sprawling fields. Amy Fleming stands at the edge of the barn, gazing out over the land that has been her home for so long. The scent of fresh hay mixes with the earthy aroma of the soil beneath her boots, and for a brief moment, everything feels peaceful. But beneath the calm, Amy senses a storm brewing, not just the kind that changes the weather, but one that shifts the course of her life. As she watches the horses graze in the field, she can't help but reflect on how much has changed since she first arrived at Heartland. She is no longer the scared, grief-stricken girl who struggled to connect with those around her. She has grown into a strong, capable woman, a mother and a wife, someone who has faced loss, found love again, and carved out a place for herself on the ranch. But the road ahead isn't as clear as it once seemed. The camera cuts to a series of shots: Amy feeding horses, Lindy playing nearby, Jack working in the barn, and Tim overseeing the cattle. It's a normal day at Heartland, but the undercurrent of change is palpable. There's a new energy in the air, an unspoken sense that the familiar rhythm of life is about to be disrupted. At the heart of it all is Amy's evolving role on the ranch. She has always been a source of stability, someone who can heal horses and mend broken spirits. But as Amber Marshall hinted in her recent update, this season will push Amy beyond her comfort zone. The first sign of change comes when Jack calls Amy into his office. His expression is serious, and for a moment, the weight of what's to come seems to hang in the air. "We've got a few things we need to discuss," Jack says, settling into his chair. "I've been thinking a lot about the future of Heartland." Amy raises an eyebrow, sensing the gravity of the conversation. "What kind of changes are we talking about?" Jack takes a deep breath. "I've been struggling with a few decisions around the ranch. Tim's not as young as he used to be, and I'm not getting any younger either. We need someone to take the reins, so to speak." Amy's heart skips a beat. She has always known that someday, the responsibility of Heartland would fall on her shoulders. But hearing Jack's words makes it feel all too real. "Are you asking me to take over the ranch?" she asks, her voice steady but with an edge of uncertainty. Jack nods. "It's more than just running the day-to-day. It's about making decisions that will shape this place for years to come, and I think you're the right person for the job." This revelation shakes Amy to her core. She has always been a healer, someone who has excelled in her own way. But leadership, true leadership, is something else entirely. It's a responsibility she has never fully imagined for herself. As the conversation lingers in her mind, Amy feels a mix of emotions. There's a sense of honor in Jack's trust in her, but also the daunting realization that this role could change everything. No longer will she be just Amy, the horse whisperer. She'll be the one making decisions for the ranch, dealing with crises, and ensuring that Heartland continues to thrive. Meanwhile, Tim and Lou are dealing with their own set of challenges. Tim's health has been declining, and though he's not ready to admit it, Lou can see it. Her father's stubbornness is one thing, but his health is another. The ranch will not just be Amy's responsibility, it will require the entire family to ensure that everything runs smoothly. Lou has always been Amy's supporter, helping her through good times and bad. But now, with Tim's health deteriorating, she finds herself caught between her loyalty to her father and her desire to help her sister. The dynamic within the family is shifting, and Lou knows that it's going to be more complicated than ever. As the days go by, the pressure starts to build. Amy finds herself struggling to balance the demands of her personal life with the growing responsibilities on the ranch. Her relationship with Nathan, still young but full of promise, begins to face new trials. They've been through so much together, but the weight of Amy's new role threatens to create a wedge between them. Nathan is supportive, but he can't ignore the distance growing between them, as Amy becomes consumed with the ranch's needs. At the same time, a familiar face returns to the ranch, one that will spark old memories and stir emotions Amy thought she had buried. Long since buried, the return of Ty Borden in spirit and in dreams becomes a central part of Amy's journey this season. His absence has left a void in her heart, and now his presence, even in dreams, raises questions about the future of her relationships and her sense of self. The air around Heartland Ranch is changing, and for Amy, the next chapter is just beginning. The air around Heartland Ranch is thick with change, and Amy Fleming can feel it in every corner of the land she's come to love. She wakes up every morning with a sense of purpose, but today, something is different. The day begins like any other until the phone rings. It's a call from a neighboring ranch, from someone Amy knows well, but it's the kind of call that shakes you to the core. Their most prized horse has fallen ill, and their vet is nowhere to be found. With a storm rolling in, the ranch needs help fast. There's no time to lose, and Amy's expertise is their only hope. Without hesitation, she grabs her gear, preparing for another long day. She's ready for the challenge, but there's an undeniable sense of urgency in the air. As she rides out to the neighboring ranch, her mind races. She knows the stakes: one wrong move, and the horse could be lost. But it's more than just the horse. It's the pressure of being the one everyone turns to in moments like this. This is the kind of responsibility that comes with leadership. Nathan, on the other hand, is fighting a battle within himself. Watching Amy take on more and more responsibility has been a source of pride for him, but it's also creating distance between them. He's noticed her eye strain, late nights, and distracted conversations. The Amy he fell in love with is still there, but she's also evolving into someone he doesn't fully recognize. As a man who thrives on protecting those he loves, Nathan finds himself torn between supporting Amy and confronting his own feelings of neglect. It's not just about the ranch, it's about their relationship. Every conversation seems to end with unfinished words and unresolved tension. He's trying to be patient, but how long can he wait for the woman he loves to come back to him? And does he even have the right to ask that of her? Back at the ranch, Amy faces another haunting reminder of the past. As the storm clouds gather and the wind picks up, she heads to the barn to check on the horses. There, in the dim light, she sees the old saddle Ty used to ride. For a moment, it feels like he's standing right beside her. His absence has left a hole in her heart, one she has been trying to fill with work, with her daughter, with the responsibilities of Heartland. But the ache is still there, always lurking beneath the surface. Amy tries to push it down, to focus on what's in front of her, but it's impossible to ignore the emotional weight that Ty's memory carries. Every decision she makes, every step she takes, feels like a conversation with his ghost. She wonders, what would he say if he were here? Would he be proud of her? Would he understand the choices she's having to make? Just as the storm picks up, so does the drama at Heartland. Lou receives an unexpected visitor, someone from her past, someone who hasn't been in town for years. Their return sends ripples through the family, stirring up old feelings, unresolved issues, and long-buried secrets. Lou tries to keep it together, but the tension is palpable. The once close family unit begins to crack under the weight of its own history. Amy watches it all unfold, feeling the pressure mounting from all sides. The ranch is her life, but so is her family. The delicate balance she has worked so hard to maintain is now at risk. How much longer can she keep everything together before it all falls apart? As the day wears on and the storm rages outside, Nathan finally confronts Amy. He can't stand it any longer. He's watched her change, watched her shoulder the weight of the world, and it's breaking him inside. With emotions running high, Nathan pulls Amy aside after a long day on the ranch. "Amy, what's happening to us?" His voice is raw, his frustration palpable. I don't recognize the woman I'm with anymore. I know you're doing your best, but what about us? What about you? Amy's heart breaks at the question, but she doesn't have an answer. She has been so focused on saving the ranch, on stepping into this new role, that she has lost sight of what matters most, her family. She knows Nathan needs more from her, but she doesn't know if she can give it without losing herself in the process. I'm trying, Nathan, she whispers, her voice cracking. But I don't know how to do all of this. I don't know how to be everything everyone needs me to be. Back at the ranch, Jack and Tim are at odds over a critical decision that could shape the future of Heartland. Tim, ever the stubborn force, refuses to let go of control, while Jack understands that change is inevitable. The two men who have built this place together now find themselves on the brink of a full-blown confrontation. You can't keep running this place like it's still the good old days, Jack says, his voice sharp. We need to think about the future, Tim. The world is changing. Tim bristles, unwilling to accept that the ranch could ever be anything other than what it has always been. And what do you think you're doing with Amy? Pushing her into a role she's not ready for? The tension between Jack and Tim spills over into the rest of the family. Lou finds herself caught between her father and her husband, each pulling her in different directions. The weight of the decisions ahead feels overwhelming: the future of Heartland, the needs of her children, and the uncertainty looming over them all. Everything is colliding in a way she never anticipated. As the storm rages outside, so do the storms within the family. The once unified front of Heartland now seems fractured. Amy feels like she's at the center of it all, holding everything together with threadbare willpower that is beginning to fray. As night falls, Amy steps outside, needing a moment to herself. The storm has passed, but the winds of change still howl in the distance. She looks toward the barn, the place that has always been her sanctuary. With each step toward it, the weight on her shoulders seems to lift, if only slightly. Inside, the horses are calm, as if they can sense her turmoil. Amy reaches for a brush, the familiar rhythm of grooming grounding her in the present. Amidst all the chaos, she finds a sliver of peace. And then, like a whisper on the wind, she hears a voice, Ty's voice. It's clear and steady in her mind. A tear slips down her cheek, but it's not just sadness. It's the realization that she's not alone. Ty's spirit is still with her, guiding her, reminding her of the strength she has always had. It's time to stop carrying the weight of the world alone. It's time to lean on the people who love her. The morning after the storm is calm, but the aftershocks of last night's revelations still echo through Heartland Ranch. Amy's world feels like it's shifting beneath her feet, and as the sun rises over the sprawling fields, she wonders if this calm is just an illusion. Every decision she has made has brought her to this point, but now the future feels like both a gift and a burden she's not sure how to bear. As Amy walks through the barn, the familiar sounds of horses snorting and shifting fill the air, offering a strange sense of comfort. But even this sanctuary can't erase the tension building inside her. Her role at Heartland is no longer just about helping animals. It's about holding the entire legacy of the ranch in her hands. The pressure is mounting, and with it, the fear that she might not be enough. She has always been the one to mend broken horses, but what about her own heart? What about her family? This question gnaws at her as she moves through her morning chores. She's lost in thought when Lou arrives at the barn, her expression tense. Amy, we need to talk, Lou says, her voice laced with concern. Amy wipes her hands on her jeans, bracing herself. I know. I can feel it, Lou. But I don't know how to fix it. Lou hesitates before stepping closer. I think we both know something needs to change if we're going to keep Heartland going. But you can't do it all by yourself, Amy. We're family. We have to stick together. Meanwhile, Jack and Tim are locked in yet another disagreement. This time over the future of the ranch. Jack has always been the steady hand guiding Heartland through both good times and bad. But now, as the pressures of the modern world weigh heavily on him, he knows that Heartland must adapt. Sitting across from Tim at the kitchen table, frustration lines Jack's face. Tim, we can't keep running this place like it's still the 1950s. The world's changing, and we have to change with it, Jack argues, his voice sharp. Tim, ever the old-school cowboy, crosses his arms and leans back in his chair. Jack's expression hardened. And what exactly are you proposing? That we turn Heartland into some corporate venture? Forget it. This place was built on hard work, not flashy ideas. The argument escalates quickly, neither man willing to back down. The more they clash, the more the rest of the family feels the divide. Lou's attempts to mediate fall flat, and even Amy, who has always tried to keep the peace, finds herself caught in the middle of a battle she never expected to fight. As if the weight of the ranch weren't enough, Nathan is struggling with his own insecurities. He watches Amy pour herself into Heartland's future, and with each passing day, he feels more distant from her. He wants to support her, but the gap between them seems insurmountable. She's buried in responsibilities, and he's stuck in the past, trying to hold on to the love they once shared. For the first time in what feels like forever, Amy allows herself to feel the weight of everything pressing down on her. She's been so focused on holding it all together that she's forgotten the most important lesson she's ever learned: she doesn't have to do this alone. But can she bring everyone together before it's too late? That night, Amy sits alone on the porch, staring out into the darkness. The air is thick with the scent of damp earth, the remnants of an earlier storm still lingering. Then hoofbeats, distant at first, then growing closer. A figure emerges from the fog. Amy turns her head, her eyes narrowing. Her pulse quickens. It's an unexpected visitor, someone from her past. Someone she never thought she'd see again. She stands, her heart hammering in her chest. "Why are you here?" Her voice is steady, but disbelief ripples beneath the surface. The figure steps forward, their face still shadowed in the mist. "I've come to help," they say, their voice low and filled with purpose. Amy's heart pounds because she knows whoever they are, whatever they want, nothing will ever be the same again. Share your thoughts in comment section and subscribe my channel for more Heartland updates. Stay tuned. Thank you.